YouTube, thanks for dropping by. I appreciate you. Right now, I'm in my area near the hotel where I'm living right now for the moment. And I decided to make this video. I wanted to make it a couple of days ago, like right when what happened. But I had to get my facts and things like this together before I made the video so that, it would be easy to follow and, somewhat entertaining. But here I am. I think I kind of have enough together. So here I'm going to talk about it. You see the title. This video is about lucid dreaming. And throughout this video, I'm going to talk about what happens when we dream. I'm going to talk about the difference between a regular dream and a lucid dream. And I'm going to share with you my experience with lucid dreams. And I'm also going to talk about why I feel that lucid dreams are important and why spiritually I think that we need them. And psychically, biologically, I mean, it all ties together anyway. But I'm going to talk about some of these things, and I think this is really interesting, and it'll tie into some bigger picture things later, whether it be the things that I talk about or gets talked about by someone else. But first of all, what is a lucid dream? A lucid dream is basically a dream where your sense of awareness, your consciousness is very, very high. It's like you're not even dreaming. It's as if you're. You really cannot tell that you're in a dream within a lucid dream. It's like a different reality. Literally, like a different reality. So, that's pretty much what a lucid dream is. So, before I go into the video, let's talk about dreaming. What happens when we dream? Well, when we go to sleep at night, of course, throughout the whole day, based on the light and night cycles and the activity of the earth, our body begins to shut down. Our body follows a cycle, and it begins to shut down. And we lay down and go to sleep on our beds or wherever we sleep. And slowly, our body functions begin to slow down. For example, breathing, our body temperature drops, our heartbeat decreases, and our brain activity, it decreases as well. That's one of the main things, our brain activity decreases. And when I say brain activity decrease, I'm talking about brain waves. And when we're awake, we're typically in the beta state. Beta is about 20 hertz cycle. And when we begin to fall asleep, we go into the alpha state, which is about 10 hertz cycle. And then we go into the theta state, which is a 5 hertz cycle. And then deep sleep, that's the delta state, which is about 2.5 hertz cycle. So when we're awake, like right now, I'm in beta. So beta, it's about 20 hertz. It's what we're alert. We can do math. We can do things that require a little bit of concentration. Beta, that's typical brainwave frequency that we're on when we are awake. So after we get to deep sleep, delta, which is 2.5 hertz, the cycle begins to go back up. And once it goes back up to theta, just next to your theta. And theta is it's like light sleep. It kind of stays around theta. It does this. And at that point, we're in REM sleep. And during REM sleep, our eyes begin to move around really quickly, to dart around. And our body is paralyzed during REM sleep. REM is REM, rapid eye movement, which means our eyes jump around. And this is the point where we have the majority of our dreams. And that's where we dream. But for a lucid dream, our lucid dreams go higher than theta. They go all the way up past beta. Remember, beta is waking. It's about 20 hertz. It goes all the way up to gamma. Gamma is 40 hertz. And the difference between beta, which is like what I'm in right now probably, is beta. It's 20 hertz, and this is like, you can do math, you can talk, you can have a conversation, stuff like this. You can do skilled things. But gamma, it's 40. It's double that. This is like you're in the circus, and you're walking a tightrope with the balancing pole. You're in like some deep concentration type thinking and type of brainwave activity. So when we lucid dream, from what I've learned, we can go all the way up to gamma, which is 40 hertz versus the 20 hertz that we're usually in, like I'm in right now. So that's really substantial to me, because that means that if we're like, for me, dreams are a portal or a gateway to other worlds, other realms of reality. Dreams are really important to me, and I don't sleep on dreams, so to speak. I take dreams really seriously, and when I dream about something, I really try to take note of it and try to understand it, because I don't think it's meaningless anymore. I take all the stuff really seriously. I don't just let my sleep go by. It's 1/3 of your life, and I feel that we need to own that part too, to get more out of our lives, not just let the sleep go by and just think it's just something that we miss. I think this is a waste of life, waste of time. But yeah, I mentioned that I feel that dreams are portals to like other realms of reality, like clairvoyance. Um, I think it's like a universal nature connection. And what do I mean by that? Universal nature connection. I made a video in the past about dreams, and I talked about dreams being communication from the universe. And my logic on that was that if you think about our hormones, for example, melatonin's made from light. It's made from sunlight. It's also made from cold. And there's other environmental stimuli that affect our hormones as well. But light and cold are two major ones. And when we get lots of light, lots of cold, it increases melatonin. And melatonin is like a major repair and regenerative hormone. But melatonin is also associated highly with our third eye, pineal gland, which many people consider like the deep seat of the soul and consciousness, and like where if they consider it the third eye. It's supposed to be like the gateway, our pineal gland, and melatonin is made through the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is what stimulates REM sleep. You have really good REM sleep when you make lots of melatonin. And if you link all of that, from the environment through the body, that's a message. That's a message. And a message is communication. So that's what I mean by gateway. And also another reason why I think this is because a few months back, if you remember, I made a video about Venus retrograding in Scorpio. And the reason why I made that video, because during that time, starting immediately when the Venus retrograde in Scorpio happened, this went on for like 2 weeks. I had a series of really intense dreams about old like childhood stuff and like really like touchy personal relationship stuff. I continuously had dreams about this, which borderlined on nightmares. Just things I didn't really want to think about, and it all happened within this time frame. And lucky for me that I now know enough about astrology to tie that together. I was able to link it, and that's what I mean. And it was dreams, and I felt that communication or instructions or whatever coming to me for a reason. So that's what I mean by dreams being a gateway, and I would love to understand them more because of all of these singularities and how everything is coming together. And I'm watching and paying attention, and I'm realizing that nothing's a freak occurrence anymore. So I take my dreams seriously. Okay, so why am I talking about this? Uh, this video is about lucid dreams, and in a lucid dream, I mentioned to you that for a lucid dream, your brainwave activity is double of your normal waking activity during a dream. Dream is usually an area of low brainwave activity, low consciousness, and no one really remembers their dreams for that reason. So by having a high state of brainwave activity, high state of arousal during a usual time where you're usually really not aware, it really gives you a flashlight to answer many of the questions that you may have about the deep subconscious, and these deep questions that we may have that I feel can be revealed within a dream. So that's my fascination with dreams. That's why I want to know so much more about dreams and the subconscious ties, and how the interworkings of the mind and how it fits in the bigger scheme of the universe, and how all the working parts move together. So that's like kind of my thinking on this, and the direction that I'm going with it. But just recently, I bought a book, and I'll drop the name of the book in the description below. And the book was about lucid dreams. I bought it about 2 months ago, and I began to learn lots of information about lucid dreams. But the book kind of raised a few red flags for me initially, because they concentrated too much on like drugs and mind-altering supplements and stuff like this, which to each his own. I love you no matter what, but I'm not used to that, and I'm kind of too set in my ways to dig too deep into that type of thing. I would be real cautious, and I would be pretty wary of someone urging anyone to do so, especially as aggressively as the person did in the book, because they had a whole chapter full of supplements and drugs and stuff that you could use, like ayahuasca, psilocybin mushrooms, and things like this. Those are two that I remember from the book. But it also had other information in the book that I found useful, but I just kind of wrote off as simply entertainment, because I had no point of reference in my mind about it, because I had never experienced any of it. But they mentioned that when you're having a dream and you don't know whether you're in a dream or not, something you could do is look at your hands. And usually you won't be able, if you look at your hands, they won't be the way that they usually are, and they'll be like a dead giveaway. And the other thing that they mentioned, if you want to know if you're in a dream, is to ask yourself, am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Also, if you do that often during like when you're awake, like right now, you do it often, you'll get your mind used to asking yourself, am I in a dream? So that once you're in a dream, it's automatic, and you can automatically check yourself. And why would you want to do that? So that once you know that you're in a dream, then you can take control and start doing whatever you want to do in that dream, and asking whatever questions, and making things happen, and really exploring that dream, and maybe take that to your conscious reality, so that it can answer some questions. But yeah, the book was really interesting, but I just saw it as entertainment. And up until the other night, where I had my dream, and here's what happened. I'll give you I'll lay this out about my dream. I'll try to make it as short as possible, but I'll give you the layout. About 6:30 that evening, I was just relaxing in my room, my light off, just relaxing, listening to videos, whatever I do. And I drank 2 glasses of wine. I had some dried mangoes, some dates, and then what was unusual about what I was eating, I also had like a cup of mushrooms. And I don't mean like some like drug mushrooms. I'm talking about just regular dried mushrooms that I bought from the store. I don't know why I bought them. I just figured I would try something different, and that's what I did. And I don't think that affected my dreams or anything like that, but I just felt that it's notable that I mentioned that was the unusual thing that I ate that night. And then about 2 hours later, about 8:30, I went to sleep, which was kind of like, I usually don't go to sleep. I usually don't go to sleep that early, but I went to sleep early that night. And I woke up about 2 a.m. and I was like wide awake, and I was like, man, it's, I don't want to be awake. I still have 4 more hours. I got to be up at 6, and I wish I could just go back to sleep. So I just kind of instantly remembered something from the book during that moment. One of the best ways to lucid dream, intentionally lucid dream, is to set your alarm 5 hours after you go to sleep and purposely wake up, and then set your intention of what you want to lucid dream about, and then go back to sleep, like after like 5 hours. But I didn't try to do that, but I remembered that's what the book instructed one to do in order to lucid dream. So after like an hour, I finally fell back asleep, and then I began to have a dream. Here's the good part. We can talk about the dream now. Well, in the dream, I was in someone's house, and I didn't know the people. I didn't know who they were, and I was kind of ashamed that I didn't know who they were, because they knew me really well, almost to the point where they like weren't really paying attention to me. It's kind of like, we see him all the time. We're just gonna kind of ignore him. And I felt kind of weird. Like, I don't know them, and I don't know where I'm at. Am I losing my mind? So I just figured, let me get out of here. Let me go. So I got my jacket, got my coat, and I stepped outside. And then I saw a truck taxi, and I decided I'll take this truck taxi. I'll take this truck taxi and go to where I need to go. And then I reached in my pocket, and I got my cell phone, or I reached for my wallet, and I realized that I didn't have my passport. And I was like, I just kind of panicked, like, whoa, I don't have my passport. And I decided that I would go back to the house and get my passport. Then I realized, your passport is not at the house. Your passport wouldn't be with you. Why would your passport be with you? And then I just kind of realized I was just really disoriented. Like what am I thinking about? Like why am I? I realized that I just was forgetting everything, and my mind was all over the place. And then I realized that I didn't really need a taxi, because I didn't know where I was going at all. Period. So I just started walking down the street. And then I saw, as I walked down the street, a relative of mine walked around the corner. A relative that I haven't seen in over 15, 16, 17 years. Haven't communicated with him, haven't seen him in like forever. Like maybe if I saw him, I wouldn't recognize who he was. But I saw him, and I was happy to see him, because I didn't recognize anything. I didn't recognize the place. I didn't recognize anyone. I was in a city, by the way, a city that I'd never been in. So I was happy to see him, and I began to small talk and ask him questions about himself. And we kind of caught up on a lot of things. And as we caught up, I was talking to him. I was looking him over, and I looked at him, and I realized he looked way younger than he used to be. Even though he's older than me, he looked way younger. He looked really healthy. He looked really, really, really clean, really unlike himself, unlike the way I remember him. And toward the end of the conversation, he started telling me about his new life, and that he was a pastor or a preacher or something, and he was real religious. And then he kind of confronted me a little bit about my religious beliefs and my views on life, and that maybe I'm kind of lost. I need to find my way or something like this. And I didn't want to talk about something like that. If you haven't seen someone in a long time, or if it's a stranger, it's like the last thing you want to talk about, like something that would create some type of friction. So I tried to ease the conversation and move it away by saying something like, I'm growing every day. I'm trying to learn things, and I'm just trying to get better. I said something real general like that, and he just kind of. Then it dawned on me, like, how'd you get here? How'd you get to Hanoi, Vietnam? Because that's where I'm at now. And he looked at me like, are you crazy? Like, what are you talking about? And then he just kind of walked off. So then I asked myself, where am I? And he walked off, and then I looked around, and it was like empty. We were like in like this wide alley, and it was just kind of empty. And then I looked up at the sky, and the sky was like a color that I'd never seen before in the sky. It was like a neon pinkish purplish color, and that was the lighting coming down. I couldn't tell whether it was day or night. And it just kind of dawned on me, like, this is not reality. This has to be like a dream. Then also I looked at the city, and the city didn't look like it looked like a dirty old city, but it didn't look like a real city. It looked like a dirty old city on a movie set. So it was dirty, but it wasn't real dirt. It was just, movie set dirt. And at that point, I just immediately dawned on me to ask the question, am I dreaming? So I said, am I dreaming? And I looked around and nothing changed. Everything stayed exactly the same way. So I said, if I am dreaming, I'm not escaping this. I'm not getting out of here. So I said, okay, let me just try to, not remember another thing. Look at my hands. I looked at my hands and nothing changed about them. My hands were, everything looked real. Everything felt real. I was doing lots of thinking to myself. Everything was very coherent. It's like I wasn't in a dream. So I figured I would just explore the situation more thoroughly. I said, since I'm here, let me see if I can fly. Because in the book it mentioned that most people that lucid dream, the first thing they want to do is fly, or another thing they want to do is have sex. But I tried to fly, and then I immediately started flying like it didn't take nothing. I was like, whoa. I bet there's other physics to this place, this reality that I don't know about, that I got to learn. I was very aware and thinking about stuff like this. I never thought that deeply within a dream, but I was thinking about this stuff. And I was flying around for about 5 or 10 minutes before I got kind of bored. And then I said, you know what? Let's have sex. Why not? This is my dream, my mind, my rules, and it's not gonna hurt anybody. So why not? So I kind of looked around and realized, it's empty. There's nobody here. And at that point, I felt like the other reality fading in. Like I was conscious reality, and I was conscious of the dream world all at the same time. They began to kind of split apart, and I could feel them splitting apart. And at this point, I realized that it was completely a dream. And at that point, I was like, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here. But a couple minutes went by, and I woke up. I was totally aware of everything. It totally coincided together just like that. So immediately, I reached for my phone, and I didn't want to flash the light all in my face, because I had just awakened. I reached for my phone, and I pressed the record button, and I began to explain the dream that I had, because I didn't want to let this opportunity pass me by. I didn't want to forget any of what had just happened to me, because of how surreal it was, and like the fact that I had just been like learning about this stuff, and then finally, boom, the situation happened to me, and I had my first lucid dream. So I just explained to you like the importance of lucid dreams to me, and why I wanted to explore the concept. And now to end the video, I want to ask any of you all who may know more about this than I do, like, what's the purpose of a lucid dream? The guy in the book, he mentioned that he uses it for like psychological healing and stuff like this. He had a lot of past trauma, like in his childhood, things like this. And he found that lucid dreams were a way of healing himself. Some people, like I mentioned to you before, I view it as a spiritual portal, and by being more lucid in my dreams, I'll have more awareness to take the information from the dream world, spirit world, or that portal world, and bring it back here with me, so that I can grow, and it helps me make more sense of this reality. So hope you enjoyed my video, and I hope you have some insight for me. Please like, share, subscribe, and I really want to hear from you. I really want to know what you think. I really want to learn from you all, so that I can learn more about myself. I'm gone.